Hi, thank you for joining us again. And today I'm talking to Ruth Harris, who is one of our Dynamic Voices members. So I've got some questions to put to her today. So welcome. Nice to see you, Ruth.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me. And well, first of all, I know that you've been singing for a long time, but how long have you actually been part of SC Choirs and when did you hear about us?
I think it's been just over 3 years now. And I did, I think I was doing an internet search actually, because I was looking for a choir in the area. And so that's how I found you.
Oh, good. So at least the website is working. That's always a good thing, I think. And of course, when you started, it was just you. But now there's 4 of you. So how did that happen, and how did that process work?
Well, I joined because I needed to have something for me. We'd been quite a difficult time for our family, so I just needed something that I could go to and be me. So it was just me for about, how long was it? Probably about a year and a half. And then my daughter, Emily, joined Intermediate Voices. And then my parents jumped upon the bandwagon too. So, yeah, all 4 of us.
So it's a real family affair, isn't it? Like performing together must be a great feeling, actually.
Yeah, it's weird too, though. It's very weird.
So what would you say have been the main benefits for each of you in your family? Because obviously all different ages, and presumably maybe different benefits as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think for Emily, it's performing with other people, singing a different range of songs than she would have the option to sing anywhere else, making friends, having fun, the residential, all that kind of stuff. For me, the benefits have been actually quite massive. So before, I've got a background in music, but before I joined choir, there wasn't a lot of music going on in my life. It kind of stopped when I'd had children. So since joining choir, I've done various things, picked up a few instruments, started writing music. So it's been really massive. Music is a big part of my life now. So for me, it's been a really big thing. And I think for my mum and dad, who have already sung in choirs, I think it's singing a different repertoire and getting to know different people and the social aspect of that too.
Yes. And you mentioned about your musical background, and actually with your composing and writing music, you actually started to teach Dynamic Voices one of your pieces recently, didn't you?
Yes.
How did that feel?
Weird. Very, very weird. Once I'd got over the initial nerves, it was all right. But yeah, it's surreal. If someone had said to me 3 years ago that I would be standing in front of a choir conducting, I'd have laughed in their face.
It's a good skill to have, though, and who knows where that might lead. So over the last sort of 3 or 4 years, what would you say have been your main highlights? And of course, they might be different for you and for Emily and for your parents.
There's probably a few highlights that kind of stick in my memory for the wrong reasons, like the coach journeys. Oh, yes. But there, actually, when I was thinking about this, when we kind of talked about doing the interview, that I was thinking there's actually just so many highlights. I think kind of like personally for me, like singing a solo in for Algar Hall, that was actually quite a big thing for me. I think also like there's standout memory in one of the Algar Hall concerts that we were sitting, and I was listening to the senior voices sing, and they were singing a song that I didn't know, wasn't familiar, and I remember thinking, I'm going to cry here. And I remember it just being such an emotional moment. So I think that's kind of one of the highlights. And also when our intermediates and our senior voices sung together at the ABCD convention, as a mum, that was a really proud moment. It was really nice that Emily was part of that. But I was also just so proud of all of the youngsters because they represented themselves so well and they made such a good sound and they were actually really professional. So yes, loads of standout moments. Oh, and Dunfield, of course.
Yes, of course. Yeah, and a lot of parents out there probably recognise your face because obviously you volunteer on a Wednesday night, and you're a great positive influence. What would you say? What do you enjoy most about Wednesday nights on a typical Wednesday when we're actually normally rehearsing?
I kind of enjoy the manicness of it all. People coming in and going out, but I enjoy building relationships and seeing the progress from week and watching a song being introduced and then getting to performance level. And before we kind of broke up during this time, I really loved watching the journey that they were going on with artistry and watching the way that they were thinking about how they were communicating, what they were singing, and they were coming up with their own ideas, which is just fabulous, really. So yeah, I really enjoy all of that, really.
And I suppose,
it's one of the highlights of my week.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, a lot of parents don't get to see that process, and they just see the end product maybe at a concert. But it's good to involve the children in that process of putting things together because they have ownership then, don't they? And there's a lot of that going on at the moment.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads me to my last question. Obviously, you're a musician and involved in education as well. And you know that as an organisation, we're all passionate about music education. But why would you say, you know, from your point of view, your perspective, why is that an important part of today's society, music education and involving children in that as they grow?
Well, I guess I come at it from a slightly different slant because I have a background also with working with people with additional needs. And so I think that there's a whole, I could go on forever for the benefits of music, but I'm actually really passionate about it being accessible and music education being accessible for everyone. I think there's a lot, particularly in mainstream schools, of children missing out on those because they're not perhaps so good at the English and the maths, and they're taken out for intervention groups and they miss that. And I actually think that music is more beneficial perhaps sometimes than the aspect, because it develops their self-confidence, it develops their ability to listen and relate to people. If their communication skills are not so good, then it develops that as well. And I think in today's society, there's a massive benefit in the emotional and mental health of people. I think lockdown has proved that, hasn't it? That actually music and the creative arts in general are just so important. So yeah, I'm proper passionate about it, I guess. But particularly the accessibility bit. And it not being for the privileged few.
Yes, yeah, and I think you're right about the lockdown. It's kind of highlighted the important part of creativity. You know how that plays a role in society and in education. So when we go back finally to normality, it'd be really interesting, won't it, to see whether that side of things is brought in more into the education system.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it does. Yeah, time will tell, won't it?
It will. Yeah, it will. Watch this space. Anyway, it's been great talking to you today. I'm really grateful of your time and thank you for sharing those thoughts with us. And carrying on being part of SCC for as long as you can will be a great thing with all your family. And it's lovely to see you every Wednesday. So thanks for all you do as well with your volunteering. We do appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us at home as well. So until next time, bye-bye.